Welcome to Above Replacement Radio. I am your host, Chris Gianta. I might be becoming a bad baseball fan who can't enjoy the romantic things because of advanced statistics. 15 years from now, I want to be on the early baseball committee. Over there on the other side of the screen is Daniel Curran.
I literally have the Fangraphs hoodie, the baseball reference t-shirt, just repping some stats, you know what I'm saying?
It's not necessarily Hall of Fame. It's not necessarily above average, but we can guarantee you we are better than just the standard replacement level college sophomore.
And welcome to Above Replacement Radio. We're talking baseball kind of whenever. I'm your host, Chris Gianta. Over there to my actual left is Daniel Curran. How you doing, Daniel?
Chris, I am doing well today. It's another Monday at 9:12 p.m., which is basically just like our designated recording time now, just anywhere in this range, because unfortunately both of us have lives, sadly.
Yeah.
Which is very unfortunate because that's the thing that really sucks about being an upperclassman in college is you actually have to do stuff.
Yeah.
Like you don't just go to classes and do homework and that's it.
Yeah, it was fun like when between the months, between like mid-May and late August when we didn't really have lives. Mm-hmm. We had somewhat of lives, but not to this extent. And
it's also very funny to look back on our freshman year when we had a designated time slot 2 days a week in the middle of the afternoon. Like, we could just never do that now.
Yeah, no, we couldn't.
It's like, oh, what day are you like always free on Tuesdays? Oh, never.
Yeah,
there's not
right.
a time.
Yeah, no. That specific day. I have a lab, and then I go to the newspaper office, and I'm sure you have stuff here in Weiser's.
Oh, I have very much stuff here in Weiser. I work down here.
Yeah.
But I also just could never free up any time because like this just can't take priority over so many other things.
Yeah,
and like I'm sure same goes for you.
Yeah, and you know we've already built. We've already kind of built this ship anyway, so this is 211 episodes. You know, when we put this on the resume, if it's 211 or 218, I don't think it's really gonna matter.
No,
we're gonna be fine.
Yeah. That's not to say that there's like an end of the podcast coming.
Yeah, no.
Like
this definitely is one of the better parts of our week.
Yes.
It's not because we don't want to do it.
It's because when we're the least busy.
Yeah, it's because it's not because we don't want to do it. It's just because we haven't been able to find the most time. But anyway, we are back here. Luckily, at least once a week.
Yeah, and we are gonna have to step it up for the postseason.
Definitely,
which we'll figure that out once we get there.
We'll figure it out. You know, maybe some inside townhouse pods, maybe outside townhouse pods.
Yeah, there's less space out there now.
Oh yeah, you can't sit out on that.
Yeah, we might have to bring chairs from inside and like a table.
Yeah.
It's a very funny visual to imagine.
Yeah, I don't know. but yeah, definitely we'll have to step it up. Luckily, like we're only doing once a week when regular season's winding down and there aren't really a lot of playoff races. One that just ended was the American League Central. Yesterday, the Guardians clinched it, and really what I will say as a reflective thing, it was a matter of like who was going to actually take the AL Central, who wasn't going to back in. And the Guardians decided they were just going to be that team.
Yeah, and good for them. They went 18-3 over their last 21 games. Obviously, this resulted in they swept the Texas Rangers on the road over the weekend. They had a 10-4 win in the last game. Everyone's just been stepping up on that team. Like, they're just very good all around. We'll talk about, their playoff expectations once we get there, but I mean, they really, like you mentioned, they stepped up big time. Yeah, they obviously stepped up, and just kind of doing it the same way they've been doing it all season. Just their base running numbers, defensive numbers look good, pitching numbers look good on both starting pitching and bullpen. Both parts of that pitching staff are sneaky good, especially the bullpen. Bullpen has a lot of guys with great strikeout-to-walk ratios. Emmanuel Clase has established himself as a top 3 closer in baseball. You could definitely say. Even just relief pitcher.
Yeah, just relief pitcher. But, now holding the, has been for a while the title of closer. Trevor Stefan has emerged as a great.
James Karinchak has reinvented himself.
Eli Morgan seems to be doing very, very well as well. Sam Henches from the left side also has seemed to be doing things right. So, I mean, and this is also something that I discussed with you off air, but like with how the Guardians have been doing, and seeing how the entire American League playoff picture has turned out, I can't count out any American League team in this playoff picture to potentially win this pennant.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only team that you can do that with, if they make it in, would be the Orioles.
Yeah.
Like, I think that team is still, if we're talking competing in the playoffs, they are very incomplete. They've been in it, and they've been a great story. And it would be cool if they made it in, but it would probably become at the expense of the Mariners, which would also be a very cool story.
Yeah.
But you're right. Like, there is no single American League team right now, assuming that it ends up being the Astros, Yankees, Guardians, Blue Jays, Rays, Mariners, that you can be like, well, that team isn't going anywhere.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like, they all have their reasons why they can be a legitimate threat, and that's what makes it fun. I think the Guardians are going to be a fun team to watch. I thought a month ago that 3 versus 6 matchup was just not going to be fun, but now I think it's going to be a nice competitive series.
The winner of that one is most likely going to get the Yankees, and I think either of those teams can battle the Yankees.
Yeah,
the Guardians, if they end up winning that, there's that interesting story where they were at Yankee Stadium in April, and like Miles Straw was like yelling with a fan in center field, and like the Yankees hit a walk-off and then had to run out to the right field bleachers to tell their fans to calm down.
Yeah.
That would be a fun rematch. Of course, the Yankees and Guardians / Cleveland have a very good storied playoff history. This would be the third time in the last 6 postseasons that they've faced each other.
Yeah.
Between 2017, 20, and then 22.
Right.
They also faced each other in 07 and in the 97.
Yeah.
And there was definitely others, but these teams, they've battled each other before in the postseason. I think it'd be fun to see again.
Yeah, it's it definitely would be fun to see, and also considering like the trends of the two teams. The Yankees, like, they had their struggle period, but now they're out of it. But like the Guardians are red hot, so I mean, and I think there have been articles done about like how much does momentum carry over into the postseason, and they said it's kind of inconclusive, but it is case by case. And I mean, you look at the Braves last year, that's kind of, I mean, they carried that in, and they didn't have to face elimination once.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, they won in 4 against the Brewers, 6 against the Dodgers, 6 against the Astros. Yeah,
they're pretty. They had a postseason where they went 11-5 and beat some really good teams, especially the Dodgers.
2 100-win teams and two 95-win teams and a 106-win team.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah. And they won 88.
Yeah, it's crazy. I can't get past how interesting the Guardians are as a team.
Yeah. So the next point that I was going to get into, I think the main storyline with their roster is just how young they are.
Oh yeah.
Like over 90% of their plate appearances have been guys under 30. 90% of their innings pitched have been guys under 30. I think the craziest thing about this is from September 5th to now, which is when they started that 18-3 run, Jose Ramirez has kind of not been there.
Yeah.
Like, he has a 711 OPS, which is still, it's around league average, but you'd expect the guy that's leading your team to lead your team during those times. And it's not a knock on him that he's not. It's just impressive that everyone else has stepped up in that time.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I did notice Ramirez has 2 home runs in his last 28 games, which isn't a travesty, but it's definitely off pace for Jose Ramirez. And I mean, if you want to look glass half full, it's like, oh, the Guardians are capable of doing that without him, and just wait till he heats back up, potentially come, playoff time.
Yeah, he's a guy that I would like to see in the playoffs again.
Yeah. I
mean, he had kind of the same stardom in 2018, I guess, maybe not 17, because I think that was kind of Lindor's team.
Yeah.
But this will be the first postseason where it's Jose Ramirez's team.
That's true. That's
which
very
I think
true.
is very cool.
Yeah, that's very true. And I think, yeah, he deserves that spotlight, no doubt.
Maybe, yeah, like 2020 was still indoors team, and that didn't even really count as a postseason because
No.
like come
It
on.
was 2 nights and it was over.
2 nights with no fans and a heartbreaking Game 2 loss. Like they were
Right.
leading in the 9th inning of that one with like 1 out, I think.
Yeah, Shane Bieber
Shane Bieber
Gave up.
completely collapsed.
gave up like half of his season's runs
Yep.
in that
In
one
the first
game.
like 3 innings of that game.
Yeah. But yeah, the Guardians, like, I should share a couple stats, like, just very basic, but like how interesting I do find them. Like, they have the second least home runs in all of baseball. Only the Tigers have less, and I mean,
That was a historically bad offense once again from Detroit,
and
who actually have been in the news lately as well.
right, and look at where the Tigers are right now; they're in last place. But yeah, the Guardians are they have the lowest strikeout rate, but also the 4th lowest walk rate. So I mean, they're putting the ball in play; they're not really walking, and they have the 3rd most stolen bases in the league as well. And I mean, stellar defense. I think top 5 in outs above average and defensive runs saved. So yeah, I mean, it's an interesting team. It'll be a very interesting clash if they, it'll be funny to see them potentially against the Yankees, where like the Yankees are kind of the opposite, where they rely on more power. I think they have the highest walk rate in baseball.
Yeah.
And I would guess maybe one of the higher strikeout rates, but that could be.
That could be a guess.
I
It's
could be
probably-
generalizing
Yeah.
with like Stanton. But yeah, I think Guardians are. I think they're gonna be a fun team to watch.
Just, I think my proudest moment from this season has to be putting Stephen Kwan as my Guardians player to watch.
Yeah.
No player on this team has a higher F4 since September 5th, the time in which they've gone 18-3, than Stephen Kwan. He's slashing 326, 408, 488 for a 159 weighted runs created plus. He also has 1.2 F4, complemented by solid defense and base running. He has an 11%. I talked about this preseason, but he has an 11% walk rate and a 5.1% strikeout rate,
Yeah.
which
he's
is
wild.
so cool. 163 ISO, which is actually pretty good by his own standards. He has 3 home runs during this time. That's impressive. Oscar Gonzalez has also broken out this year, and particularly in this stretch. 315, 347, 573 with 6 home runs for a 159 weighted runs created plus. Andres Jimenez also has 159 weighted runs created plus. That's 3 total people with that exact stat line.
Yeah, and Shane Bieber has found his Cy Young form. I don't know the.
So is Tristan McKenzie.
Yeah,
Like, he's probably the Game 2 starter.
yeah. Tristan McKenzie's. He's definitely been. It kind of started. I think it started a few months ago. Like he had a crazy stretch.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one other starter I think I'm forgetting about. Maybe it's not Cal Quantrill.
Cal Quantrill has been there. Who else has been there? Aaron Savali. He has a very good FIP actually. Aaron Savali in this span, only 10 innings pitched, only 2 starts, but 8.10 strikeouts per 9, 0.9 walks per 9, no home runs allowed for a 162 FIP, a 3.6 ERA, but whatever. I think if there's one question mark with this team, it's probably rotation depth. Those games 3 and 4. Especially assuming they go through the wild card series and they can't throw Bieber and McKenzie till games 3 and 4.
Right.
Like, games 1 and 2 are going to be an uphill battle.
Yeah.
That's what's going to be interesting about the wild card series is, like, assuming you go 3 games, like, you're going to have to rest your guys, especially because it's no rest in between. Like, if you're Shane Bieber, you're going in game 1, and then on 1 day's rest is game 2, 2 days of rest is game 3. There's probably a travel day. So that's 3 days of rest going into the series, which means you're going to have to be working on short rest to pitch in game 2. If not, you're just going in game 3.
Right. Yeah. Well, it would be. Yeah, I think it would be short rest if they wanted you to go game 1. But 4 days rest that's once every 5th day. So
Yeah.
So I think that would be normal. Yeah, I think that would be normal rest.
But that means, like if it's Guardians Yankees, game 1 is Garrett Cole versus Aaron Savali or Cal Quantrill.
Yeah, right.
Which is a little bit of a mismatch, but
yeah, it can be.
But I mean, if the Guardians can steal that one, I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
But that sets up really good potential for the rest of the series for them.
Yeah.
Then it's like Cortez versus Bieber.
Mm.
And then it's like, I don't know. Would it be tie on game 3 against McKenzie? Would they throw tie on game 3?
Yeah, I don't know. Yankees are interesting right now.
They are.
But yeah, I think rotation depth could be interesting for the Guardians. I know the team last year who suffered the most from lack of rotation depth was the Rays in the postseason, where
that proves to matter.
That like they were 162 heading into the postseason, and the team was on the upswing. Like they were on fire, but they lost in 4 games to the Red Sox.
Yeah, I mean, like their top 2 were McClanahan and Rasmussen, who were still not fully developed based on their performances this year.
Yeah, it was
like McClanahan Rasmussen looks way better right now than it did last year.
Yeah, it was.
Plus you have Kluber now.
Well, I remember it was rookie McClanahan and rookie Shane Baz, who I think
who started game 2,
who had 12 major league innings under his belt.
Unfortunately, he is getting Tommy John surgery.
Yeah, which sucks.
What a turn of events for that trade.
Right.
Like, I still don't think the Pirates won it because Chris Archer really didn't contribute much, but like the Rays didn't just destroy them.
Yeah, no.
Like they really didn't. Like Glasnow was cool for a couple regular seasons. He was awful in the World Series in 2020, and really just throughout that postseason, he was having some tough times.
Yeah.
But like Meadows is gone. I guess the best thing about it now is that Meadows turned into Isak Paredes.
Yeah, that's true. Worked out for them.
Mm-hmm.
But the Rays were the team that we saw, not work out with lack of rotation depth. But it is also important to say that it's not all about starting pitching matchups. You can't, in general baseball, you can't just look at today's probables and determine that's the team with the better team probable is or starting probable is going to win that game, because
especially in the playoffs, like very rarely do we see guys just completely take over in a playoff game from the mound.
Because the team, you could argue,
because everyone is on a short leash.
Because on the flip side, the team you could argue who had the best rotation heading into the playoffs lost in 4 games also.
And because their offense put up a total of 1 run in 4 games. To definitely don't fact check that. But they did win the one game, I believe, 1-0.
Yeah. So
maybe it was 3-0. I don't know.
So it's more than just the team probable. You got to take into consideration offense as well, and bullpen, of course. But I think bullpen gets considered quite fairly.
Yeah.
So yeah, Guardians, they won the division. White Sox, we've been talking about them all year.
Yeah.
But
we'll I think we should save a White Sox segment for a different time.
Yeah.
I think we already know what our take is and what our thoughts are.
Yeah, that's true.
But man, what a disappointment.
Yeah, really. And we've talked about it too, is it could end up being a positive, could end up in a managerial change that
is very necessary.
That would make it so, the White Sox could compete in the next 2 to 3 years.
Rick Hahn built that team for so many years, and was, in 2017, people were hyping up the 2021 and 22 White Sox, and that's how it got ruined.
Yeah.
I don't know how you don't just walk away if you're him.
Right. It's hard. It has to be hard not to. But the next bit of news we'll get into, the Mariners locked up another guy. They have a lot of guys under control for a long time, which is good. Jerry Dipoto seems to be putting together a roster that's full of, guys you want for a long time. And that is exemplified with a 5-year, $108 million extension for Luis Castillo, starting pitcher for the Mariners, who he didn't have the best game yesterday, but he's been a pretty positive impact since coming to
solid
Seattle.
FIP numbers.
Yeah.
3.12 FIP, 3.34 ERA, and 59 in the third innings. He's almost qualified for the 2020 season.
Yeah, he's been quality for them. I mean, going back since the start of 2019, he has a 1.32 ERA plus, and he's been generally pretty healthy throughout all those years as well. So yeah, it's a solid extension. We prefaced this for a little bit. What were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, so it was 5 years, 108 mil. That's good for 22 a year.
Yeah, I think it's 21.6.
Yeah, it's solid. I mean, the Mariners have two young starters that are already proving that they're legit in Logan Gilbert and George Kirby. Kirby is a legit ace. I don't care. I'll say that right now.
Yeah, he's pretty sick.
They have a lot of rotation depth, which is probably a lot of why I don't want to count them out. But they're building around this rotation. They've already locked up Ray. They have Castillo. They have those two. This is a team that is going to win a lot of games with this core.
Yeah, and did you talk about Logan Gilbert?
I did.
Yeah, Logan Gilbert.
I highlighted George Kirby a little more, but
yeah.
Logan Gilbert is also very solid.
Yeah, Gilbert he's been becoming, what he was projected to be, in just his second year as a regular starter in the MLB. Yeah, you gotta love this. We talked about the potential of an extension for him. At the trade deadline when they acquired him, because the Mariners gave up the number 18 prospect in baseball. Their number one prospect, Noelvi Marte, who's a shortstop in that system.
As well as some others.
As well as, I think it was another top 100 prospect, or at least a guy who was, number 6 in their system.
Yeah. So,
it was a big haul to get Luis Castillo, and we were thinking, Luis Castillo, he's 29 or 30 right now. If they're giving up that much, they plan to have him around for a long time. When they acquired him initially, they had him on, he was under control through 2023, and then now he'll be under control through at least 2027, and then there's actually a vesting option, or
yes, it was I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, but
it was if he gets hurt and has to miss, I think it's 2025 through 27. They have an option for 28.
Yeah, there's an option for 2028 as well. So yeah, the Mariners. What do you think about what Jerry Dipoto is locking up right here?
I mean, it's hard not to like it. Luis Castillo has been an ace pretty much his entire major league career, outside of, I believe it was last year when he got batted to death in Cincinnati.
Yeah,
and he's not really showed any signs of slowing down in this past year. I think he's revitalized himself and become the Luis Castillo that we've all come to know.
Yeah,
and I really like him in Seattle over Cincinnati for sure, long term.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're, Luis Castillo has to like T-Mobile Park much better than Great American Ballpark.
It's not even a debate.
Yeah. Don't have to go too in depth on that one, but he's always had great strikeout numbers. His walk numbers have gone down this year, which is great for him. And it's good for him. Definitely deserves it. Kind of been an under the radar guy for a little bit.
The Mariners also, if we're just talking core pieces, they of course locked up Julio. For the next decade plus, which is encouraging. Yeah, they've always kind of had a kind of impromptu bullpen almost. Paul
Yeah.
Sewell has kind of established himself as a closer, but they're very much guys in, guys out in that bullpen, and it's worked since 2021.
Yeah, and then because of how young Kirby and Gilbert are, they both have 5 more years after this. I think Kirby has 6 more years after
Yes.
after this of at least control. Unless they wanted to trade one of them.
Unless
in
Kirby
the-
gets top 2 in the Rookie of the Year voting, which
That's true.
he probably won't, but I think there's a pretty good case to be made.
Yeah.
I honestly, there is a very good case to be made.
Yeah.
Like, I think Adley kind of has more of the star power. Like, Julio's winning it. Like, I think that's pretty determined, but it's probably between Adley and Kirby for 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Which is cool because it almost certainly means that someone will be benefiting from that rule.
Right.
Because, Adley's not extended yet. Kirby is not extended yet. And it's weird to say that, maybe it feels weird to say that because they're so young into their careers, but we've seen teams lock up guys this early in their careers before.
Yeah.
One
Or
of
even
them
before they
being the
stepped on a
Mariners.
major league field.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think it just depends how the voters go. And sometimes I do underestimate the voters because last year I did not expect them to put Burns in as the Cy Young. But they did. Castillo's locked up. And the next bit of news we can get into before players to highlight is big event happened.
How's it going?
Big event in Los Angeles, Friday night. Friday night. Yes, Friday night. Albert Pujols hits number 699 and 700.
Back-to-back at-bats.
Back-to-back at-bats, which is crazy.
So dope.
Love to see it. Yeah. Pretty nuts.
I mean, it's amazing that we've gotten to this point. Like, I think I asked you before the season, like, what are the odds he stays and gets there? Because he needed 21 home runs to get there before this year. And the conclusive response between the two of us was like, well, if he's going to get to 21, like, he's going to have to return for 2023.
Yeah.
And he got there, unbelievably.
Yeah. And I mean, it's been a surprise, obviously. And I mean, who would have thought that? Yeah, like I'm just looking at his total season stats right now. Who would have thought he would have had an 860 OPS this year? He hasn't had this high of an OPS since the last time he was in St. Louis, which is crazy because, like literally in 2012 with the Angels, he had an 859 OPS. So
With the Angels?
In 2012 with the Angels.
Oh, with 2012, that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, literally he had an 859 OPS, and now he has an 860 OPS. Who would have thought at age 42 he'd be able to do this? But
it's been very fun and inspiring.
Yeah,
I think it's brought something to baseball that I didn't really know we needed. Like with the fact that we have 2 like historic home run chases at the same time. It sucks that Pujols had to do it on Apple TV. But
yeah.
I hope someone better go to Major League Baseball with a complaint, like just based on that, because there's so much evidence there. And Major League Baseball will say like, well, we gave it to everyone who had Apple TV for free. Like all you had to do was sign into your Apple TV account. You could have watched it for free.
Yeah.
But still, like that's stupid.
It is stupid. Yeah. Yeah, they're trying to spread their seed of and obviously it's a business, it's a money game there as to why that's happening, but it definitely sucks that it has to be that way. And you can discuss to death that why MLB making games less accessible is a bad thing for baseball, but
it's also the least surprising thing you've ever seen.
To bring it back, Pujols, I think we did mention this, like it's the first time where really everyone has been on board rooting for a 700th home run. And, you know,
Since Babe Ruth.
People might say Babe Ruth, but, like,
Yeah.
Babe Ruth's 700th home run wasn't a big deal because
600 was also a big deal, and so was 500. Like, when Babe Ruth retired, how far ahead was he on the all-time home run leaderboard?
He was probably the first to get to 300, definitely.
Oh, absolutely.
Might have been the first to 200, so
There were
it
both.
wasn't
Actually,
a big deal that he got 700.
I did want to talk about something that was just absurd. So MLB on Fox put out a top 5 unbreakable records graphic
Mm-hmm.
in baseball history, and it was the worst thing I've ever seen. And I think it was in light of like the AL home run record probably going down, and
Yeah.
someone taking that long to get to 700, knowing that 762 is the record, which it is pretty hard to imagine someone ever getting to 762 in our lifetimes. But anyway, so on the top 5 most unbreakable records, number 5 was Cy Young's 749 complete games. That was number 5. Nobody is getting like halfway there in the rest of our lifetimes.
Right.
749 career complete games.
Also, there's
number 5 most unbreakable
there's
record.
a laundry list of pitching records that will never be touched.
Yeah.
Like
innings pitched in a season,
yeah,
wins in a season.
yeah,
They're all in the 1800s, but
right. Yeah.
anyway, I thought Cy Young at 5 was unbelievably bad.
Okay. Yeah.
Number 4, Adam Wainwright and Yadier Molina, 325 starts as a battery. That's fair. Like,
yeah.
is it a top 5 most unbreakable record? No, but like, yeah, it's hard to imagine that's ever going to be done again.
Yeah.
Like those two guys played on the same team for close to 20 years, and outside of 2011, they were both healthy for
Yeah.
most of them.
Yeah. A lot of factors. Yeah. Like health of players,
Mhm.
and then free agency. A lot of things that make that hard to do.
So number 3 was Joe DiMaggio's 56-game hit streak.
Eh,
Pretty unbreakable is fair, but top 5 unbreakable, I don't know. Like, it could happen.
yeah. Pete
You know,
Rose got.
Is it
44.
unlikely? Exactly. Is it unlikely? Sure. Like, there's a reason it's stood as the record for almost 70 years.
But
actually, exactly 71 years. In fact.
But yeah, Cy Young had 511 wins.
Mhm. This one's so stupid. Number 2, Shohei Otani with 10 wins and 30 home runs in a season. I'm assuming they're making this list on the basis of things we're never going to see again. We could see this next year from Shohei Otani.
Yeah.
Like, maybe no one else will do it again for a while, but Shohei Otani could easily get 10 wins and 30 homers next year.
Yeah.
Like, no doubt about it.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Exactly.
And then number 1 was, this one's a joke, Barry Bonds' all-time home run record at 762, which is probably not even a top 5 unbreakable record from Barry Bonds.
True.
Like, you want to tell me that 762 home runs is more likely than 120 intentional walks in a season?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Or a 609 OBP?
688 intentional walks in a career.
Yeah.
2,558 walks in a career.
So anyway, that was the list. The worst omission, and you could probably figure it out, the worst omission of this list, what do you think it is?
What, like 678 innings in a season?
That's close. I was thinking a little more modern than that.
Worst omission. Oh, what is it? Pitching or batting?
Hitting. Well, I guess it is a hitter. Yeah, it's a hitter.
I don't know.
Cal Ripken Jr.
Oh yeah, yeah.
How do you not put that on? 2,632 consecutive games played.
Yeah,
And that's and Shohei Otani doing something he could do next year is more breakable than that.
yeah, that took 60 years to break.
Yeah.
For him, and he broke that.
And that was like when Lou Gehrig did it. People said the same thing, that it was never going to be broken again.
Yeah.
And Cal Ripken did it and then played 500 more games.
Yeah, and now, like, I don't think it's a bad thing, but now we have scheduled days off.
Yeah.
A guy getting 162 games in a season
Also
is an
playing,
accomplishment.
yeah, and playing injured is a little more frowned upon now than it was then.
Yeah. And I'm not hating on it.
No, absolutely not. Like, think about it. If Cal probably played injured a couple times during that, and during that time, if you played injured, it's like, dude, you're a legend. You're insane. Like, that's great. And now, if you play injured in like a regular season game, it's like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing this to yourself?
Yeah, exactly. Like
Like in the
probably gonna
playoffs
be
today,
worse.
sure. But
Right.
even then, it's like if you're playing a hurt in the playoffs and sucking, it's like you're not helping your team. Like, please
Right.
leave the field.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway,
Exactly.
the Pujols thing brought up that graphic, and I thought we needed to discuss because there are so many things wrong with it. Like, Cy Young at 749 career complete games at number 5 is absurd.
Yeah.
There are not 4... Like, those 4 records are all far more breakable.
Yeah, and it's just like the whole unbreakable records thing with baseball.
It's so subjective.
It's so stupid because look at every career or single season pitching record. Is anyone ever going to throw 7,356 innings? No. Is anyone going to throw, what was it, 5,749 strikeouts? Or 5,714 strikeouts or something like that?
Yeah.
Or is that the innings? I should.
I feel like there's got to be unbreakable by 2 different standards. It's unbreakable because the game is simply different, and unbreakable because like no one's ever gonna be that good again.
Right. Yeah.
And like Barry Bonds' 688 intentional walks is unbreakable because no one's ever gonna be that good again. Like the game has not changed in any way to where it's unreasonable to believe there's less intentional walks now or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
exactly.
maybe there is less intentional walks only because Barry Bonds is no longer in the game.
Yeah. Right. And like, if you like, it's not it wouldn't be controversial to say, oh, no one's gonna get 110 shutouts in a career again.
Yeah.
But like, maybe it could be controversial to be like, no one will get a 1422 OPS again.
Yeah.
It could be like that. That would be like, I guess a challenge.
Yeah, like it's unlikely, but it's plausible.
Yeah.
Like look at the stretch the Judges had, and I know that that's only a month out of a 6-month season, but if you could do it for a month, there's a chance it could be done for 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Anyway, I thought we needed to get into that.
It's funny. It is funny to react to corporate baseball accounts
being dumb. Yeah.
and just like just trying to drive the conversation.
Also, the fact that it's MLB on Fox makes it maybe reasonable that Ben Verlander put together this list.
Yeah.
Which I'm surprised there isn't some Justin Verlander record on there if that's the case.
Yeah.
But it also doesn't surprise me that he put Shohei at number 2.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Like. Yeah. No. I'm trying to think of a thing Justin Verlander did. 24 wins in a season. Wait,
Never will be done again.
never done again.
101 from a starter in the 8th inning.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'll never see that one.
Cover of MLB 2K12.
Never will be done again.
Never will be done again.
Just wait till 21-12.
Yeah. It's like, dang, he beat the record.
Old takes exposed. It's like, what? I thought climate change would wipe out all humanity by then. Like,
Yeah.
I had a reason to believe it.
Yeah. All right. Well, are we ready to go to
let's
players
do
ahead?
it.
So, now for our Tuesday. And by the way, all these stats that we're going to be talking about are going into.
To be fair, there's 4 games being played today.
Yeah.
There's,
Unfortunately,
Good.
one of my How About That
Is playing. Wait, do you have multiple How About That's?
Oh, yeah. Spoiler.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I decided, I decided I would go with multiple, but anyway, it is time for our Tuesday, September 27, 2022 edition of How About That? Who do you have for us today?
So my How About That is not playing tonight. Neither is my Slightly Alarming. But my How About That is Seth Brown from the Oakland A's. Since September 4th, he is slashing 307, 411, 758 for an 1169 OPS and a 230 weighted runs created plus. That weighted runs created plus ranks second highest in the majors over that time. You already know who's number 1 by, I think, 67 points, which is very funny. During this span, he has a barrel rate of 27.7%, which trails only Aaron Judge and Yordan Alvarez among the 281 hitters with at least 25 batted balls over that span. Before this span, he had a hard hit rate of 40.5%, and in this span, It is up to 57.1%. Additionally, before the span, 13.8% of his batted balls had a launch angle above 45 degrees, and in this span, it has shrunk to 7.1%. He's almost cut that in half. He's hitting the ball way in the air, a lot less. And that's impressive because, as I'll get into later, he's actually hitting a lot of fly balls. Each of his last 7 batted balls have all been hard hit, and also in the last weekend, he homered and walked off both Jacob deGrom and Max Scherzer.
Wow.
Yeah, they played the Mets this weekend in Oakland. Not an easy ballpark to hit in. And he walked and homered off deGrom and Scherzer in the same weekend. I would like to imagine no one's ever done that. To be fair, they only played on the Mets for 1 year, but it doesn't matter.
Basically
a
2
month
months.
and a half. Yeah. During the span, his .474 average against four-seam fastballs ranks 3rd highest among the 110 hitters with at least 85 fastballs seen, and his .1263 slugging it leads the 236 hitters with at least 60 four-seam fastballs seen. And this is thanks in part to his 60% fly ball rate against four-seamers during this span. So Seth Brown, he's done a really impressive job and has established himself likely as the everyday first baseman in Oakland next year, sort of taking a similar route to that his predecessor Matt Olson did in Oakland in 2017.
Yeah, Seth Brown.
How about that?
I was almost going to pick him last week, so luckily swooped in. And
Well, he only homered off deGrom and Scherzer since.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, he's been good. I actually listened back to some of our preseason questions that we asked for every team, and you asked who I thought would lead in slugging for the A's, and I said Sean Murphy, and Seth Brown has edged him out.
Yeah, Sean Murphy has hit well, but he has not slugged that much.
Yeah, hasn't slugged that much, but I mean, total package, he's been unbelievable. Almost a 5-win season for him, I think. So yeah, I have 2 how about that's. I didn't go crazy on either, so I figure it's kind of fair. My first how about that is playing currently. Luckily, he hasn't popped off, but he hasn't gone bad. He's 1 for 3 right now. I'm talking about Gleber Torres, who heading into Monday.
Is this a comeback special?
This is an ARR comeback special for the first time this year. Gleber Torres, who in his last 12 games, he is hitting .383 with a 1250 OPS and a 250 weighted runs created plus. In this span, he ranks 3rd in average, 4th in on-base percentage, 3rd in slugging, 3rd in OPS, and 3rd in weighted runs created plus. Out of 211 hitters with 25 plus batted balls in the span, his expected WOBA ranks 4th out of 211, and his average exit velocity has gone from 89.7 miles per hour to 93.5 miles per hour. His barrel rate has gone from 9.1% to 27.8%. That barrel rate ranks 3rd out of 211, behind, guess who? Aaron Judge and Yordan Alvarez.
Yep.
So,
Wow,
yeah.
That's actually pretty awesome.
Yeah.
We have the same line in our How About That's for 2 different people from 2 different spans.
Yeah, Gleber.
They're both 27% barrel rates, too.
Yeah, and get just you wait till my next show.
Oh, boy.
Gleber Torres.
How about that? Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years. I'm rocking my pants, putting suckers in fear.
So with that one, I went a little more high profile, playoff team, contending team.
Yeah.
He's surrounded by a good offense there. Opposite with this one, although actually kind of similar age, Brian De La Cruz.
He was good in 2021 for a period of time, and I wanted to do him so bad, but it's just he needed a little bit more. And then I wanted to do him as my player to watch on the Marlins this year, but then I found Lewis Head.
Yep.
And I was like, I need to highlight this guy somehow, but I've never found a chance, so I'm very glad. It's weird to say you stole it from me when I've been linking him for a year and a half, but I also just have not done anything, so thank you.
Yep.
From the Marlins.
Brian De La Cruz, he's a little background on the guy. He's 25. He, I guess, technically not in his rookie year, so he's in his second year. He was the return in the Yimi Garcia deal.
Mm-hmm.
The Astros got Yimi Garcia and traded Brian De La Cruz and another prospect. So Brian De La Cruz, righty for the Marlins right now. In his last 11 games, he is hitting 400 with a 1219 OPS and a 235 weighted runs created plus. In this span, his average is tied for second. His slugging ranks third, OPS ranks third, and weighted runs created plus ranks third. What's crazy about Brian De La Cruz is usually, with these guys in these spans, you can count, their average is pretty high, but their expected batting average is a little lower. Brian De La Cruz, in his last 11 games, is hitting 400 with a 424 expected batting average. He's also slugging 800 with an 885 expected slugging percentage. And out of 174 hitters with 25 plus batted balls in the span, his expected batting average ranks first, and his expected slugging and expected WOBA ranks second behind Aaron Judge. Also in the span, Brian De La Cruz's barrel rate is 27.3%, which ranks third out of 174, behind Aaron Judge and Yordan Alvarez.
Man, Aaron Judge and Yordan. This is basically a how about that for Aaron Judge and Yordan Alvarez.
Yeah. Brian De La Cruz's sweet spots percentage is in the span is 60.6%. That is first out of 174. And out of 33 batted balls he's had in his last 11 games, none of them have been pop-ups.
Wow.
And Brian De La Cruz's span, it doesn't seem completely fluky, as in his 316 plate appearances overall this year, he has a 284 expected batting average, 496 expected slugging, 12% barrel rate, 44.4% sweet spot rate, and a 30.1% line drive rate. So potentially a Marlins bat to look at in the future. Brian De La Cruz.
How about that?
Yeah, Chris, congrats on unlocking my secret infatuation with Brian De La Cruz that I've kept from you for a year and a half.
Happy to do it.
Yeah.
Happy to do it. So now we'll go from the highs to the lows with our players and subjects that have been underperforming with our Tuesday, September 27, 2022 edition of
Slightly alarming.
Who do you have for us today?
So my slightly alarming, a little bit more high profile. I'm talking about Bryce Harper.
Ooh.
Yeah. In the month of September, he is slashing 153, 267, 319 for a 587 OPS and a 59 weighted runs created plus. He has seen a heavy dose of four-seamers throughout this month of September, and he really has not gotten a hold of them. His 118 batting average against four-seamers is the second lowest among the 98 hitters that have seen at least 100 four-seamers this month, and his 176 slugging percentage ranks fifth worst. Before this span, he had a hard hit rate of 51.9%, and in this span, it is down to 38.3%. So his hard hit rate has dropped by about 15%. Also in this span, his line drive rate was 34%, which led the 297 hitters with at least 150 batted balls. That was April to August. Obviously, he missed a chunk of that. But from April to August, he had the best line drive rate among the 297 hitters with at least 150 batted balls. And in this span, it is 14.9%. That is the lowest he has had in any month since May of 2013.
Wow.
It's been over 9 years since Bryce Harper has had any month with a line drive rate that low. And it's resulted in him hitting 150 this month.
Wow. Bryce Harper.
Slightly alarming.
And Chris came into our little recording room, and I was like, wow, that's a stat.
Yeah.
And that's what I was talking about.
Stat and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, my slightly alarming is currently playing. I'm not going to acknowledge what he did today.
Don't look at it.
But I don't know if he's not super high profile, but he was the National League Rookie of the Year, Jonathan India.
Yeah.
In 2021.
Do we know what he's done today, or is it just I have no idea?
I know. Well, there's a specific thing that he did that he hadn't done in this span.
Oh, that's highly unfortunate.
So in his last 16 games, he's hitting 143 with a 393 OPS. And in these 16 games, he has 0 extra base hits. And he definitely didn't get an extra base hit tonight. Definitely not.
He did not. Do not look at Baseball Savant tonight. He did not hit a double in the 7th inning that had exit velocity of 100, in the first inning that had an exit velocity of 99 miles an hour and expected batting average of 450. That was also a barrel. That didn't happen. In the
Oh, it
first
was a
inning.
barrel too.
Yeah.
Great. So, out of 167 qualifiers in this span that is going into Monday, September 26th, his average is fourth lowest, slugging is second lowest, and OPS is also fourth lowest out of 167. His average exit velocity had gone from 85.8 miles per hour to 80.0 miles per hour. His hard hit rate had gone from 31% down to 17%. And out of 40 batted balls in that span, he had one barrel, but he just added one tonight.
He's doubled his barrel amount tonight than he has in the last.
And out of 233 hitters with 25 plus batted balls in this 16-game span, his average exit velocity was 7th lowest and hard hit rate was 9th lowest. So his average exit velocity was way down, which is not great considering he was, a 20 home run guy last year, and a guy who had some power. But yeah, not hitting the ball very, very hard lately. So Jonathan India.
Slightly alarming.
I don't know if you've seen the crowd tonight in Pittsburgh, but it's a Monday night game against the Reds on September 26th when both teams are very much out of it. Anyway, if you've seen that, they haven't announced the attendance for the game yet, so I think that double just doesn't count.
Yeah,
Nobody saw it.
that's true. The same way we disregard 2020 sometimes.
Yeah. Like, Jose Abreu did not win MVP, but Jose Ramirez still did get screwed in that.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, that, whatever existed in 2020 and what didn't exist is just our choosing.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, it's up to people to decide what happened and what didn't.
Right, yeah. Like, the Marlins were a playoff team.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
But, like, the Reds weren't.
Yeah, the Reds weren't the playoff team.
Sorry, Reds.
Yeah.
No, actually, no, the Brewers weren't. That's the real team we're kicking out. The Marlins absolutely made the playoffs with a record of 29-31. Same cannot be said for the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah.
The Reds can exist, even though they scored 0 runs in 2 games.
So the
One going
Marlins are a
extras.
playoff team, but the Cubs didn't win the NL Central.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say. I know they played each other.
They played each other. It was a 2-game sweep.
Man.
Yu Darvish's almost Cy Young season. It wasn't real.
Yeah. No.
I'm trying to think. Who were, like, the random good players from that year?
Dominic Smith.
Tom Smith. That didn't happen.
Yeah.
Let me check, like, the 2020. I haven't checked the 2020 leaderboards in a minute.
Yeah. It's
Who were the guys that year?
It's
that
something.
Just were never guys in any other season.
right.
Dare we say Trent Grisham?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I guess you could say that.
Cesar Hernandez never had a 2-win season.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Even in a 162-game season.
Yeah.
By the way, we probably wouldn't bother mentioning him on Slightly Alarming, but he had 21 home runs last year and he has 1 this year
Wow.
in 138 games.
Huh.
I don't know what the deal is with that. Like, he only had a 154 isolated power last year, so it's not like he was just this great power hitter. But yeah, he's decreased his home run count by 20
Yeah.
for whatever reason.
Yeah. That's weird.
Cesar Hernandez had his 3rd best F-WAR in a 60-game season.
Right.
And he's played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 other seasons with at least 120 games played.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think of pitchers who just balled out.
Well, I mean, he was on the Guardians / Cleveland. Mike Yastrzemski.
Mike Yastrzemski. How about
Brandon Lau, first half MVP?
How about Dallas Keuchel having a sub-2 ERA?
Yeah, that's a good one. Dylan Cease.
Dylan ceased all over the place, but now he's ceasing in a different way.
Yeah, he's like for real season. Did Nelson Lamet? That didn't happen.
Oh yeah,
That's a big one.
The the best foolish baseball tweet was Sixto Sanchez. We're like, we love.
Oh, you know what a
baseball.
good one is? Dylan Bundy.
Yeah,
That wasn't real.
that wasn't real. What was his tweet? I have to go back and find this gem. Sixto Sanchez never existed. We collectively hallucinated him. That's foolish baseball on September 3rd, 2022.
Yeah, sadly he has not pitched since that season, which is a shame because he was awesome that year.
He was so good.
He and Sandy were like, they pitched games 1 and 2 in Chicago, and we were like, oh my god, this pitching staff.
Yeah,
Which we're still like, oh my god, this pitching staff. But
Sixto was my, I think it was my Rookie of the Year pick that year.
in 2020,
He might have been,
interesting.
but I think it ended up being who? It ended up being Devin Williams.
Yes.
I think I just picked a random guy because I didn't know who to pick, and I was like, this guy's ETA is 2020.
Yup. Sure.
He's-
Because Rookie of the Year can be such a crapshoot.
Yeah, it can be.
Like sometimes you'll get a guy like Julio winning it, who is like, top of the line prospect, and then sometimes you get Spencer Strider winning it.
Yeah, right.
Like a tale of 2 Rookie of the Years in one season.
Yeah, and it's sometimes it's like their only good year. So Jonathan India could just be that guy.
Michael Fulmer.
Yeah, Michael Fulmer.
Who else?
Yeah,
Cody Bellinger.
yeah.
Only 2 good seasons. A Rookie of the Year and an MVP.
Yeah, and then just disappear off the face of the earth.
Yeah. Who had some like fake bad seasons in 2020?
Well, it's not Christian Yelich.
Nope. Not Cody Bellinger either.
Yeah. I guess JD came back the next year. I think age is just kind of getting to him now.
Oh, Jose Altuve. The whole Astros 2020 wasn't real.
Right. Yeah.
I think that's something that I know a lot of people wouldn't want to agree with that, but unfortunately that just is the truth. You know who wasn't real? Evan White from the Mariners.
Yeah.
That guy was an everyday first baseman, and he has since not existed.
Yeah.
He played 30 games in 2021 to the tune of a 25 weighted runs created plus and a negative .7 FWAR.
Damn.
30% strikeout rate with a 5.8% walk rate, 188 BABIP. Yeah, see, Evan White, he's not real, unfortunately.
Yeah.
He was only real in 2020. Half the Marlins pitchers were only real in 2020.
Yeah.
'Cause they had to cycle through so many people.
Yeah, I don't know.
How many pitchers did the Marlins use in a 60-game season that year?
We had the big COVID thing at the start of it.
37 pitchers and 25 position players.
Do we want to get into a preview of the week ahead?
Yes. Yeah, let's do that.
I'll be talking about series to watch. Daniel will be talking about day-by-day matchups. In terms of series to watch, I don't know. It's getting a little bit dry now because a lot of things are being clinched now, and
Yeah.
maybe
Like the Guardians probably clinched the 3 seed at this point.
Yeah.
That just feel like maybe that's not real, but it feels like it is. Like it's weird not having exactly a week left on this Monday.
Well, I mean, they clinched the division, so
Yeah. They have to have. I wonder if they did. I wonder if they actually did clinch the 3 seed.
doesn't.
No, they have not.
Well, what do you mean by clinch?
Well,
they have to settle for it.
Well, they're probably not getting the 2 seed,
Yeah, no.
and they are obviously not going to get the 4, 5, or 6 because the division winners get the top 3 seeds.
Yeah.
So they had to have clinched the 3 seed in the AL, right?
Yeah.
Feels like I don't think they have. It doesn't look like it, but they basically have. Doesn't count.
Right. Yeah. So speaking of,
Actually, no, they had to have, right?
they're
Right? No.
I don't know,
No, they actually haven't.
but they're playing the Rays this week
Yeah, that's
at
true.
home,
Let me check.
and that's going to be a 3-game series. Good stuff. Maybe playoff preview.
Okay, yeah.
Who knows?
The Yankees look to be they're 8 up in the win column and 9 up in the loss column, so 8.5 games up.
We've got 10 games to go.
Actually, you know what? The Blue Jays and Guardians have the exact same record, so I can literally just go off of what the The Yankees have a division magic number of 2. They could actually win that tonight with a win against the Blue Jays. They're still tied 2-2. It's actually in the bottom of the 9th now. The Cardinals have a division or a magic number of 3, which is that'll be clinched this week. The only good division race right now is the NL East, which is the Mets Braves, and even then, the stakes aren't outrageously high because both those teams have already clinched the playoffs.
Yeah, and we'll have a home series to start the playoffs.
Yeah, it will likely be facing. Well, I guess this. I mean, as of right now, they're set to face the Padres, but that could change.
Yeah.
The winner. I mean, I guess the best thing they're playing for, assuming that whoever loses that division wins the wild card series, is they get home field against the other, or do they play the Dodgers?
Well, the best thing they get is
I think they play
a free win.
Yes. I think they play the Dodgers, actually. Which, imagine, we're either getting, if that's the case, we're either getting a Dodgers-Padres rematch, which would just be, I'm just going to say that's a sweep for the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Or a Dodgers-Braves round 4.
Right. Yeah. And speaking of Padres-Dodgers, they're playing each other this week.
Yeah.
It's going to be a Petco.
That's going to be a Dodgers sweep.
It's
what are their head-to-head records this year? It's a joke. Like, that's not even a rivalry anymore.
It just seems to be the Dodgers is stomping all over them. That's all I really have for series to watch.
That's fair. The Dodgers are 15, or no, so they're 12-4 against the Padres.
Yeah,
with
that's not good.
100 runs scored and 41 runs allowed.
Wow,
that is insane.
So that
how did the Padres win 4?
Yeah, so the Dodgers score 6.25 runs per game against them and allow 2.6.
That is. Let me look at some of the highlights.
So the average game is 6.3 to 2.6. Dodgers.
Let me look at the highlights from that season series. So you got an 11-2 win, an 8-4 win, a 9-4 win, a 12-1 win, a 4-0 win, 8-3 win, 8-1 win, 7-2, 5-1, 3-1, 10-2, 6-1. Oh no, yeah, 6-1. Those are the wins, and the losses are 3-2. That's a 1-run loss. 5-4. That's another 1-run loss. 7-1. That's a legit one, and then 4-2. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Dodgers are kind of owning them.
Yeah, Dodgers do that.
Yeah.
They be like that.
Yes, they do.
Day-by-day matchups?
Yeah, so on Tuesday, which is tomorrow, or I guess today, you got Hunter Green versus Mitch Keller in Reds Pirates. That's actually going to be a fun matchup. Both pitchers very interesting this year. You will have Jameson Taillon and Jose Barrios facing each other in the Yankees Blue Jays, which is still going as of right now. Looks like Clay Holmes is in facing Raimel Tapia, so that's almost a guaranteed ground ball. Michael Wacha will be pitching for the Red Sox against the Orioles. He's turned it around this year. He's been really solid. Pablo Lopez and Carlos Carrasco will face each other in Marlins Mets at Citi Field. Zach Wheeler and Marcus Stroman will face each other in Phillies Cubs at Wrigley. That's a good one. Lance Lynn and Bailey Ober will face each other in White Sox Twins. Bailey Ober, one of my Twins players to watch. Miles Michaelis and Adrian Hauser will face each other in Cardinals Brewers. The Cardinals could clinch the division in Milwaukee. That would be interesting. Lance McCullers Jr. will be facing Zach Davies in Astros Diamondbacks at Minute Maid. Patrick Sandoval will be facing the A's for the Angels in Anaheim. Tyler Anderson and Blake Snell will be facing each other in Dodgers Padres. A couple of lefties at Petco. Robbie Ray will be facing the Rangers for the Mariners at T-Mobile Park. And Herman Marquez and Logan Webb will be facing each other in Rockies Giants in Oracle. And the matchup of the night comes from Guardians Rays in Cleveland. It's Corey Kluber versus Shane Bieber. It's old ace versus new ace in Cleveland.
Yeah, I saw that.
And it's a couple of playoff teams looking to, well, I guess the Guardians pretty much have their season figured out. But the Rays are still trying to latch onto that 5 seed, maybe try for the 4.
Yeah.
They still got a lot to play for.
3 Cy Youngs in that
Very true.
In that matchup.
Yeah.
Now, Shane Bieber's 2020 is real.
That absolutely happened.
That
yes.
happened.
Please consider it with all of the great seasons when you're talking about like a bunch of great seasons with these amazing rate stats.
Yeah, exactly. Please do.
How about this one? The next day in Rays Guardians, Tyler Glasnow versus Tristan McKenzie.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Tyler
Wow.
Glasnow being back is pretty cool. It's got to be his first start back.
Yeah.
I'd imagine he has to be on an innings limit and probably will be like in a bullpen role for the postseason.
Yeah.
That would be my guess. You will have Garrett Cole and Mitch White going against each other in Yankees Blue Jays. Worst case scenario, that will probably be the day that the Yankees win the division.
Yep.
If they don't win it tonight. Jesus Luzardo and Taijuan Walker in Marlins Mets. Aaron Nola versus Hayden Wesneski in Phillies Cubs. If you have not looked into Hayden Wesneski, do it as soon as you can.
Okay, I will.
He was acquired in the Scott Efros trade by the Cubs, and he has been awesome. Like,
Nice.
beyond awesome. Chris, you should do that right now.
All right.
Johnny Cueto will be facing the Twins for the White Sox. Weird that matchup means nothing now. Or, well, it will soon. Jose Quintana versus Brandon Woodruff in Cardinals Brewers. You will have Michael Lorenzen facing the A's for the Angels in Anaheim. Julio Urias versus Joe Musgrove in Dodgers Padres. Martin Perez facing the Mariners for the Rangers at T-Mobile. I've mixed that up twice. And the matchup of the night comes from Diamondbacks Astros. It's Zach Gallen versus Justin Verlander. That's a pretty easy one.
Wow, yeah. Big run prevention game there.
Look at his expected statistics.
I'm talking about the Gallon.
Oh, yeah, I thought you were talking about Wesneski.
I'm trying to find out how to spell.
Wesneski. I think it's Hayden with a Y.
Oh, for some reason I was typing in Hunter.
Oh, Hayden Wesneski.
Hayden Wesneski, yeah.
Anyway, Eduardo Rodriguez will be facing the Royals for the Tigers at Comerica. That'll be a 1 o'clock start on Thursday. Lucas Giolito, also at 1:10, will be facing the Twins at Target Field. Nathan Eovaldi will make his return from the IL to face the Orioles at Fenway at 1:30. Ranger Suarez will be facing the Cubs for the Phillies in a day game at Wrigley. Jeffrey Springs and Cal Quantrill will be facing each other in the finale of Guardians Rays, a potential playoff series. Cole Irvin versus Shohei Otani in A's Athletics in Anaheim. John Gray will be facing the Mariners for the Rangers at T-Mobile. Ryan Felder and Carlos Rodon will be facing each other in Rockies Giants. That's all that's announced, so I guess kind of by default the match of the day is, let's say, Cole Irvin versus Otani.
Sure.
Yeah.
12.5% line drive rate against Hayden Wesneski.
Yeah.
Pretty nice.
Very good FIP. I think his expected statistics are even better than his actual. Like, look at his ex-WOBA.
His expected ERA is 1.70
That's pretty good.
over 4 games, 22 innings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty nice. Pretty nice.
That's a piece that will probably be in the Cubs rotation next year, along with Justin Steele, who's hurt right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Cubs have 2 defined starters for next year, most likely.
Oh, yeah.
Along with Stroman, so that makes 3.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, that'll do it for this installment of Above Replacement Radio. We hope you enjoyed this one. If you want to follow us on social media, follow me on Twitter at Chris_Gianta. Follow Daniel on both Twitter and Instagram at Daniel_Curran. And follow the show Instagram at Above Replacement Radio. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you want. It is Above Replacement Radio on YouTube. Go to the playlist if you're interested in our baseball history series. Go check that out. Put a lot of work into that, and it's kind of timeless. So, like, even though we made some of those episodes 2 years ago,
they still hold up. Like, Walter Johnson has not added anything to his resume since we've covered him.
Yeah, the only thing you could say is like, maybe some of the how about that's are dated because maybe Aaron Judge has ruined some of those. But yeah, we hope you enjoyed this one, and we hope to see you next week, or maybe, not to promise, but maybe later this week, but probably next week.
Who knows?
Where we will be talking all the happenings in Major League Baseball once again. See you then.
That's it.
This conversation is over.
is over.